rewind.
Too late. The don't lie.
No, the conclusion has to be.
Oh,
It has to, because if you do not believe in the chance,
Ali's jumped the gun, man. Come on, Ali.
I'll give you the premise. If you don't believe the chance factor and possibilities,
Yeah.
then you need to keep that consistent throughout the universe coming into being. If the universe came to being, a determiner, if everything's determined, there has to be a determiner.
Are you playing with words here?
Yeah, he's been watching too much Muhammad Hijab.
Are you being poetic here?
I'm trying You have to believe in a determiner.
Cause and effect.
Yeah, if you believe in
Make it simpler. Ali, make it simpler. Cause and effect. So,
Audience, make it simpler, no?
no, we'll try to make it simpler for the audience, because not every audience is as intelligent as mashallah Ali here. So inshallah we try to keep it, not that I'm trying to make fun of the audience, you know. He's quite intelligent. Mashallah. He's
making shit up.
We all have degrees of intelligence, alhamdulillah.
It's not bad.
Okay, then let's go with
So
the flow.
again, cause and effect.
Yeah, no, before we go to cause and effect, let's first get one thing right. We have to establish whether the existence, whatever it is, even from the minutest quarks within the atoms, to your existence, to the existence of the universe, can it ever come into existence from nothing?
Can it?
Yes,
That's the question.
that's the question.
As a skeptic.
No, it's not skeptic.
As
It's
a skeptic.
Okay. So what would be your answer be as a
At the
skeptic?
atomic level,
Any level. From the macro to the macro, can it come into existence?
you know, with the micro, we just operate a little bit different. Quantum physics says
What? That things come from nothing?
Quantum physics saying.
there's a quantum entanglement. Could you explain this?
No. What your
It's still double slit. It's still determinist, because double slit experiment. They fire a photon.
no, but that's got nothing to do with something and nothing.
No, it doesn't.
That's still something. The photons are still something.
Because what they say is that there are these particles appearing out of nothing. The fact that you're observing
Virtual
is something.
particles.
No, it's not worship. What you're talking about is quantum vacuum.
Yeah.
And quantum vacuum is not nothing. Okay? Now,
an energy.
no. They haven't determined yet what is in the quantum vacuum. It is something which is like it's quantum mechanics still in its infancy. So there are many things they don't know. But no scientist will tell you that quantum vacuum is nothing. So once again, does something come from nothing?
So I'll wait for the scientific explanation.
The scientific explanation already gave you. Brother, they already gave the explanation. It comes from the quantum vacuum. And quantum vacuum, no one defines it as nothing.
It's a vacuum.
Yeah, it has properties. Does nothing have properties? Huh?
It doesn't transmit, for example, sounds. It doesn't transmit light.
No, he does trust science.
Yeah,
He does. From what he's saying, he does trust
What they
science.
say, yeah?
Though it's a bit.
No, but the thing we didn't conclude the nothingness.
No, but no one says quantum vacuum is nothing. We concluded that, I don't know, there's a brother who said nothing is actually a concept. Just like infinity is a concept, nothing is a concept.
Yeah.
What about numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, we know abstraction. Yeah.
Yeah, so abstracts are concepts as well. It's another form of concept.
We can manifest those into reality.
How? How are you going to manifest one?
As in, I can get.
You can describe something as one, but then one can be many things, like one tree, one human, one cat.
Of course, I get it.
They're all different forms of one? No, this is how we as an abstract form define numerically how we describe things.
Okay.
It's only an abstract, remember. So once again, nothing doesn't exist. It's a concept. In order for us to communicate, just like we use numbers, we use things like nothing, something, everything, infinity. Yeah, this is in order for us to communicate, in order to formulate things in mathematics.
I get that now. So it's a descriptor.
Yeah, so the bottom line here is it doesn't exist in reality.
Let me agree with you.
So it exists in your head,
Yeah.
it can exist in your mind, but even then, I think very few people will be able to grasp absence of everything. Because you're always looking at something, isn't it?
Always
You're always
something.
thinking about
Universe
something.
is something.
So that's why I'm saying the best way to describe it as absence of everything. Okay?
So the initial question was,
Can something? I don't know. Sorry, I wasn't here.
Asked him if he believed in chance.
and I said I believe in chance.
Depends there. I'll see you next week.
Right, Ali?
Some research.
So
She said
Yes.
about chance, and I said, yes, there's chance. There's a chance of things happening.
yeah, but chance like Ali described, or chance like random?
Both.
No, there's a difference. There's a
there a
difference.
difference?
Yeah, something which is calculated based on the factors affecting, and that is not chance, because you can actually predict it, like the weather. You know, the weather is dependent on many different factors.
Yeah.
Yes. So would you say it rained by chance? All those factors came together and it rained.
So
Even then, the weather forecast gets
there's
it
a
wrong
mathematical
many
thing
times.
that's going on there. So what I'm specifically on about,
Yeah.
explicitly, is the creation of the universe.
It's not chance,
There's no
because
chance.
the creation.
There's no chance
No.
that these atoms could have popped out of nowhere.
That's why I said nothing cannot create something, because nothing doesn't even exist.
So
That was the whole point I was making along this argument.
I get it.
You agreed with Ali.
I agree.
When he flipped
I license. So
He can't do that with me.
I'm not genuine all the time. Your creator, he made something from
No, before you go to my creator, I want to take it from your perspective.
my perspective.
Okay? Because my perspective is pretty clear. We have one God who created everything, you and me, the universe, everything, and he sustains all this. So
Yeah.
it's pretty much clear from my perspective. It might seem very simplistic to you,
Yeah.
but to be honest with you, even logically thinking, like I said, something cannot come from nothing. So you must have something.
This is human logic.
Say again?
God came from nothing.
God came from nothing. You know, that argument itself implies you don't know who God is or what God is. Because God doesn't come, God always existed.
You're saying no can come from nothing.
No, come means originate from. There's a difference. Come from, okay, doesn't apply to God because He always existed. If something is eternal,
Yes,
then it doesn't need to come into existence. The cause and effect, the Kalam cosmological argument goes like this. If something begins to exist, then it must have a cause. And this cause has to be something. It cannot be nothing. You guys want to go? Ball is in your court now. Give me 2 minutes.
Have we investigated all possibilities?
Show me another possibility. I gave you the simplistic understanding of the possibilities as being something or nothing. We already ruled out nothing. The only thing now exists is something. So before we define the something, you show me what are the other possibilities. Go on. Ball is still in your court.
What was in my court?
Yeah, pray.
I have no answer. I do not know.
Because there cannot be an alternative. You cannot have nothing as an alternative.
Once again.
You must have something as an alternative.
Is this a
So the only,
dichotomy?
the only logical alternative is there is something, and that's something, and
or
that's
there's not something.
no, there is something. Of course, it cannot be nothing.
Don't cut to me.
No,
There is something or there's not something.
yeah, but it doesn't apply in this case.
No.
We already ruled out not something, which is nothing.
Once again,
If it's not something, it's nothing.
there is a
Unless you can give me an
creator,
example of
there-
not something.
There is a creator or there's not a creator.
No, you're jumping the gun. We haven't talked.
That's the
No. You have to first define what a creator is before you say there is no creator. I define nothing. Remember? You define creator to me now.
I never said there is a creator. I'm not asserting.
No, you gave me the dichotomy.
I'm not
Now you have to define the two different alternatives that you have: a creator or no creator. So go on. Define what a creator is and what a non-creator is. To me, a non-creator would be a creation, if you ask me. Simple as that.
You're asserting there's a creator.
I told you I don't want to jump the gun, remember?
Yeah.
In fact, the reason I didn't do that is because I don't want someone who is agnostic or an atheist to first start with the notion that there is a creator. I want to take it to you in what you believe as logic, rationality, science. Okay? I gave you logic, something and nothing, the definition of nothing. I gave you something from science, like for example, the cosmological argument. Yes, the cause and effect. That is science. If you want, I could have just jumped into the spiritual belief as a religion, believing in God, but then obviously it wouldn't be neither here nor there for you because you don't believe in that. So I will take you along the path that you believe in, that you have faith in.
No.
No?
Please don't.
Why not? I would do that honestly if it was my child or if it was my friend. I would go along the path of what they already believe. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not.
Your child.
Okay. Let's talk about the creator. Come on, define creator. Let's go with my way of thinking, my way of understanding, gone. Define to me a creator.
I don't know.
So don't bring up those terms next time. Creator, non-creator. Why would you use terms that you don't know? I'm not. I'm using your own words, your terms, the one that you.
asserted there's a creator.
Hold on. Did I do that? I was taking him along the path that he believes in.
Nothing.
I was trying to avoid the term creator all along.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll tell you what, you know what? Let me take you to something that you firmly believe in. By the way, do you believe in science? Do you believe in empirical evidence?
It's not a belief system.
Okay, no. Do you know about empirical evidences? Okay. I know some people like to use these words to, okay. Empirical evidence is what?
Using the data to show evidence.
Very good. Do you need to have observable, testable information, or do you just have information like the concept that I gave you?
The latter.
So what? Just a concept?
Not on all occasions.
You mean the former?
Sorry, on the former.
Yeah.
Not on all occasions do you need.
Okay. What information or knowledge will convince you that you have consciousness? That is empirical. That comes under empirical evidence.
It's a very, very tough one. You got me.
You know why? You know why many people struggle with this? Because, by the way, it's not just you. It is something that the scientists themselves call it the hard problem of consciousness. The reason for that is because conscious is not something that you have data on in terms of, because you might perceive things differently as having a conscious individual to your friend over there, to the sisters here, to myself. We might see the same thing, but we have different way of perceiving it. Yes? We all will agree on one thing, that we all have consciousness, because there are faculties that you're using right now. You're questioning your rationality. Everything depends on your consciousness, yet you have no evidence for consciousness. That is the beauty of what you as a creation of God are. That even you as a creation of God is. I'll tell you why you brought God here. Because even without your empirical evidence, wait, I'm getting there. I'm coming there.
Where did God come from?
Bro, I'm coming.
We're talking about empirical.
As soon as the word God comes, he gets all alert. Because it's like some sort of a bad word for him or something. By the way, listen, the reason I brought God in is because with your empirical evidence, with your lack of empirical evidence, you already believe in something which is closer to you than your other belief, which is God Almighty.
No.
Do you believe you have consciousness?
Do I believe?
Do you believe you have consciousness? Seriously? He needs to think about that? He's using his consciousness right now. The fact that he's thinking about it,
I'm using my faculties.
which is based on your consciousness.
My senses.
Your consciousness again.
My mind.
Your consciousness
My brain.
again. All of that. The central core of that is your consciousness.
It's my brain.
Trust me, when you are in a vegetative state,
Trust you.
bro,
I don't know you.
bro, you don't need to know me. When you go to hospital with a person in a vegetative state, he is conscious. The reason he's not called a dead vegetative person is because he's still conscious. His vitals are still on. Your vitals are on because you have some sort of consciousness. Maybe it's limited to what you as a person standing right now are.
It's very complex.
It's not. It's simple, brother. It's simple. Anyone who denies consciousness believes they don't exist. Anyone who denies, including an atheist, including an agnostic, including a scientist. You can never deny your consciousness, my friend. Because without that, none of your senses will work. You will not be able to communicate to me. You will not be able to reason.
I don't know enough.
But you believe it. That is my point exactly.
Believable.
Remember earlier you said you need something like data. You need knowledge. Should be observable. Should be testable.
It's reasonable to believe.
Brother, none of that comes under none of that empirical evidence applies to your consciousness for its existence.
Okay.
But you believe it, and you know it. I'm using both terms now, believe and know. So you cannot deny either, my friend. But trust me, in this case, it is a certain faith, and I would call it blind faith even. I would go to that extent. Yes, because look, the only person who can actually prove your consciousness is yourself. Because you're the only one who feels things. You're the only one who says that I exist. You're the only one. You're the only one.
God.
Say again? Yeah, the reason I brought God in is that a person cannot deny his consciousness, yes, even with the lack of empirical evidence.
Yes.
And the same person is asking for empirical evidence for God.
Why?
He still didn't get it, did he?
Of course.
Okay, let me backtrack.
Why?
Why? Because when it comes to God, you seek empirical evidence. When it comes to your consciousness, you believe it on blind faith.
No. My friend, I'm not after empirical evidence.
I like the way you took credit for all that. Alhamdulillah.
Did I ask for the mathematics of God?
You said the God, what's it called?
Was it?
Was that called the machine, instrument for God? God instrument.
The godometer.
Godometer. Yeah, again, you're looking for empirical evidence.
That's empirical evidence.
Yes.
But there's also other methods to use.
No. I'll tell you what.
Philosophically.
You give me a method that determines metaphysics. Go on. Because that is exactly what you're seeking. Your godometer is the instrument which can detect metaphysics. And your trust me.
Philosophy.
No. Metaphysics.
Yeah.
Philosophy comes within your consciousness as well.
Metaphysics within philosophy, no?
No. Philosophy can include the study of metaphysics as well. I'm not denying that. But I'm saying you need an instrument to detect the metaphysical elements.
I do not.
So why are you asking for a godometer then?
Because we was on about empiricism before. But now I'm saying I don't need a godometer.
So how will you determine something that is metaphysical and it exists like your consciousness?
Rational.
No, you can't apply rationality because wait a minute, your rationality, that's like circular argument. It's dependent on your consciousness.
Logic.
Same thing again. All that is based on your consciousness. You can only believe in it.
Open-minded and accept.
You can only believe in it.
I am open-minded. I want to hear your.
By the way, do you believe in metaphysics? You do. Give me an example.
Metaphysically,
Go on.
they say.
That's the worst example. Metaphysics. What is it? How do you define metaphysics?
Above physics. Something.
What, biology? Geometry?
Numbers.
Oh, those are abstract. I wouldn't call it.
Things.
I wouldn't call it.
Metaphysical.
No. I wouldn't call it. Nothing is a concept. Numbers are abstract. Metaphysical things actually do exist if you believe in metaphysics, like your soul, like your consciousness. Yes. What was that? No, like I said, look, a person believes in science.
No.
If you're going to make him. By the way, I was surprised you said you believe in metaphysics, and yet you cannot give me a single.
Love is metaphysical.
No, bro, that's just an emotion. Who told you it's metaphysics? Who told you it's metaphysics?
I must have got it wrong.
Yeah, you definitely got it wrong.
Love is not
Emotion
metaphysical.
is an emotion.
Emotional are not metaphysical.
No, they're not metaphysical in that sense. Metaphysics means something that you cannot use. You cannot use empirical evidence for to determine. Again, emotion, yes. But like I said, all these things, they emanate from consciousness. So you're just telling me your consciousness, because without consciousness, you cannot experience love. Am I right? You need to first, what you're doing is you're putting the cart before the horse. You need to first acknowledge that you have consciousness before you start.
I'm agreeing with you. I have consciousness.
On what basis? Raise the evidence that you have consciousness.
I think, therefore I am.
Yes, like I said, subjective. Remember you said I think, therefore I am. So only you can imagine that. And only you can think that. Okay? So it's not, empirical evidence is an objective evidence, by the way. It's not subjective. Okay? Otherwise the scientists will throw it out. So you wouldn't be much of a scientist if you're going based on just I think and I know.
So, again.
I think angels exist. Okay? So you should believe me. I think, therefore you should believe. No, it doesn't work like that in science. The reason scientists call it the hard problem of consciousness is for this, my friend. Are you with me? Of course. Okay, so for you to say I believe in metaphysics, that means you believe in your soul, you believe in your consciousness, you believe all these things with zero evidence of empiricism.
Metaphysics is not holy.
Yeah, metaphysics, the whole definition of metaphysics is something beyond our naturalistic world.
Yeah, which is a very number of things, no?
Yeah, it is. But But you know, like I said,
The whole of
there,
metaphysics.
there is no empirical evidence for those things. Let's put it that simplest, in the simplest form.
It's the language, no?
No, it's not. It's the scientific terminology.
We're using fuzzy language.
We have to use language to communicate. Come on.
I understand, but I'm on my fuzzy language. Whereas we can't get empirical evidence for love, but it can manifest.
But you believe in it.
You believe in it.
Thank you.
It's reasonable to believe in it.
Thank you. You see how you stop using the term "I know"? Yes. How you ended up on "I believe"? Yes, which is exactly the point I was going to make to him.
Twisting the word.
That's what I call Hadouken moment. All right, Jazakallah. Look, my friend, it's inevitable. Trust me. It's inevitable. Metaphysical world. It's inevitable unless you stop believing in all your emotions. Yes, trust me. You cannot go. Your pets, a cat or a dog. Okay, you cannot measure the amount of love you have for your pet and the amount of love you have for your mother. You cannot do that. Science cannot do that. Only you can tell that.
You're messing with the language now.
I'm not. I'm messing with emotions. It's gone deeper than that. Language is just a medium.
Love. We don't measure love empirically, no?
You can't.
No, emotionally. We're using the word measure as a. It's not like that.
No, but that's what I'm telling you. Empirically, you cannot determine things like emotions, like love, like hate.
No, but when you mention measure, it puts a thing in the people's heads.
I'm using empirical evidence.
It's not empirical though, is it?
It is. Measurement is empirical.
Measurement is empirical.
Yes.
The way you're using it for love is wrong.
No, I'm saying you cannot use
you cannot.
empirical evidence for love.
Yeah, you use a mathematical term.
Empirical is a mathematical term. Oh, I see what you mean. So what's wrong with using mathematics in empirical evidence?
You can.
Isn't it? You have
Not
to.
for things like love.
But I think we are talking cross purposes here.
Yeah, we are.
I'm saying you cannot measure love. Not that you can. The term measure was used to communicate to you.
Measure your God.
In what terms? That he exists? Yes. It's metaphysical. Okay? You know, I'll give you an example. If you're going to start looking for plastic using a metal detector, would you detect any plastic? So you're using the wrong tool if you're going to start using empirical evidence to determine the metaphysical, including angels and God.
What tool do you have to use then?
Of, for example, your consciousness. You use a metaphysical faculty, your faculty of reasoning, which all depends on which is all metaphysical, to determine the metaphysical.
So again, is that a subjective measurement?
Is that a subjective? Not if you're going to talk about God. I'll tell you why. Because then I will use my logical faculty, reasoning. No, it's still using the same thing.
Are you using a subjective method?
No, it's not.
It's know.
It's called objective reasoning.
Objective reasoning?
Yes.
How can it be objective? It's only personal to you.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Like, remember I asked you earlier, can something come from nothing? Is that objective?
No.
Cause and effect. Is that objective?
Come on.
What do you mean, come on? You answered those questions already.
You're shifting.
No, you're backtracking. Okay, once again, can something come from nothing? Is that objective or subjective? The answer to that question.
Answer that question.
Is that subjective or?
I do not know.
You answered it already. He forgot.
No.
Oh man. How can you not know?
I cannot know because I haven't found nothing.
Because it doesn't exist.
I don't know.
Oh, you expect to find it one day?
No.
Wow.
Well, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Do you know? Can you define nothing?
Come on.
We are going back to the same thing again. Exactly, because you've forgotten, my friend.
No, I haven't.
So I have to remind you.
No, I haven't.
Okay, once again, does nothing exist? Because earlier you said no, now you're saying I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of.
Earlier you said no, my friend. Earlier you said it's an idea, it's a concept.
With the conversation.
you back. Look, that's the reason I said you're backtracking now. Because it's on tape, and you will realize when you see. What do you mean you don't care?
Listen.
You don't care if you lie. You don't care if you forget. By the way, could you either?
I'm human. No?
Of course you are.
There you go.
Did I say you were alien?
So again, if we go back to nothing,
Yeah.
I cannot give you an example.
Because it doesn't exist, my friend.
Who said?
Everyone. Everyone who knows about nothing, the term nothing, it implies the absence of everything, my friend. Okay? This is the simplest definition of the term nothing.
Before time and space,
Gone.
was there nothing?
Before time and space. No, there was always, God was always there. Oh, by the way, if you're talking about matter and energy, it came about into existence. It's not eternal. No scientist that I know of worth the salt and the credibility will ever say matter and energy are eternal. No one will say that. You know why?
First of all,
You know why?
Dynamics,
Exactly. Yes. Do you remember what it is?
Energy cannot be broken.
Cannot be created or destroyed. And the most important bit which everyone forgets, no, in a closed environment. Okay?
Closed system, yeah.
In a closed system. So you need a closed system which happens to be the universe, in our case. Yes? It needs to be a closed system in which energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It's always converted into something else.
In a black hole, there's nothing.
What's that?
In a black
Oh, so now you believe in nothing?
Yes.
Well, that's good for us.
No, he's right actually. So that means there's nothing in there, which is agreeing with me. So now you believe in nothing. Wow. So does it exist?
Yes.
But there's nothing in there.
There's something.
Have you just realized that? You said in a black hole there is nothing. Are you saying that nothing is something?
That's a contradiction. It's a paradox. But
For you it is, yes. For me, I know for a fact that nothing doesn't exist.
in a black hole,
In a black hole, if there is nothing, that means nothing exists in there.
but it's something, but it's nothing.
No. The black hole is something. You asked me
Black hole is something.
You asked me inside it.
It's nothing.
Yes.
There it is.
But you define something and nothing is nothing existing or not existing.
Please, you're blowing my mind.
Tell me about it. Because I have been consistent all along. You're the one who have changed tracks many times now. You know why? Because you
Without.
cannot acknowledge that nothing is a concept and it doesn't even exist. Once you acknowledge this, once you accept,
I'll do more research. I'll come back to you next week.
research on nothing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, if you want to, go and look up all the definitions of nothing.
Please.
Okay?
Can I?
Yes. And if they say nothing is something,
Yeah.
then I will say that is something you define, not nothing.
Okay.
Anyway, by the way, the reason I asked you about something and nothing
Yeah.
is because then the next thing is the cause and effect. Because once you acknowledge that something has to be there for all of this, the universe to exist. The universe didn't come about by itself. No, it didn't. No one says that. No scientist says that.
Came about.
Talk to me.
Random chance.
No, there's no random change. What do you mean random change?
Just
Who told you that? Oh, so universe is a concept. I think it's real. All right, brother. No, it's all right. The universe.
come next week.
The universe is something. It's not nothing.
No. The universe came about.
From.
Nothing.
But what is nothing?
That's the thing.
You don't know what's nothing.
I'm going to investigate and come back.
But you have already concluded.
Yeah, because it's been revealed to me.
You should have told me that earlier. Just like the Quran has been revealed to me. Jazakallah khairan. I think he probably knew where I was going with the logical, what do you say, the logical path that I was taking, which is first to break it down logically, rationally, from what they actually believe in. The only reason you would deny belief in God is because you just don't want to, even though rationally, logically, it would make sense to you. You just don't want to. You have put some sort of a block there. Yes? And as soon as you realize that there is no other alternative for the universe to come into existence, but from something which is not only powerful, something which does not only have the ability to create, something that is eternal and always existing. Yes? Something that is intelligent. This is the only other alternative you think of, because the universe is not something which is simple. It's very complex and very vast. Yes, in fact, we haven't even seen the whole universe yet. We haven't even determined how big it is. Okay? Can you imagine how grand the creator would be, the one who created the universe and everything in it? Yes? So alhamdulillah, I think with with sincere people, we will get somewhere. But if people are going to keep fighting their nuts, fighting their natural disposition, then you're just lying to yourself, basically. And a person who lies to themselves will not get very far. So anyway, we hope that Allah gives this brother hidayah and all the other people, and we ask Allah to keep us steadfast on our deen. Yes. Rabbi ja'alni muqim as-salat. And this is something that we pray to Allah. Rabbi ja'alni muqim as-salati wa min dhurriyyati Rabbana wa taqabbal du'a. Rabbana ighfir li wa liwalidayya wa lil mu'minina yawma yaqumul hisab. Yes, that Allah keep us firm and make us firm in our salah. Yes, keep us firm in the faith and keep us and make us steadfast in our salah. And our offspring, that means our children. Allah accept our dua. Yes, Rabbana ighfir li wa liwalidayya, that means Allah forgive our parents. Walil mu'mineen, that means the believers, on the day of reckoning. Yawma yaqumul hisab. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please everyone, do subscribe to Dawah Wise. This is the new channel of Brother Mansoor and myself. Yes, alhamdulillah, just like the brothers here, we cooperate with each other to spread the work of da'wah. So please do keep us in your du'as. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.